Good morning, everybody. This is Mia, sometimes known as Dr. Mia to very few people. I am likely not your doctor, so if you have any health concerns, health issues, health questions, you can either hire me, depending on where you are and where you want to travel, or you see your own healthcare provider. So that's my disclaimer. I wanted to talk. In some of my videos, I do want to talk a little bit, or I talk a little bit about products or procedures, or talk about those in a way that I use them and that I have gotten help. I am currently wanting to move this message. I'm trying to decide if I need the ring light. I feel like I need it. I'm trying to decide in this episode, our series on um, on hold on, this thing's coming loose. Hipster collapse. Alright. Hi, this is Mia. I just recorded and didn't have the recorder on, so I want to just jump into the story. I sat here for 10 minutes thinking that I was recording. Sorry to you. Basically, I had gone through this Venmo pack that came in the mail. I don't think you got that part. I wanted to do the series because I'm running out of time. Basically, it came with a stand, a lanyard, some instructions, this Venmo thing, and this card I stuck in there that has the code, and then it has one of these keychain, like, wear it on your wrist. It has a spot for the name badge. These stretchy ones that are kind of cool. So that came from PayPal for my Venmo for my business. So I always, I'm starting to want to, nobody's trying to get me to do promotions. Nothing is being advertised by these people. I mentioned that Join Honey, Venmo, and PayPal are the same people. I mentioned that one of the founders for this was in the news as far as PayPal, as having the $51 million in the SVB over the weekend, trying to get their money out prior to the shutdown, and potentially speaking up and having other people do bank runs. And their people, I guess, didn't withdraw the money when he told them to. You hire people to deal with your money. So what happens? And who knows? I mentioned that I was going to try to make a list of these news articles so I can read some of it and actually have the names and the titles and the details and doing a spreadsheet. So again, I had this pause while I fixed the light and I forgot to turn it back on. There was the story of friends, people in the neighborhood, relatives that are not accepting you. You call, you send letters, you text, they don't respond. They just leave you like nothing. And I was feeling like something was wrong with my uncle the other day, and I get on Facebook to double check to make sure he's alive, because people aren't telling me my relatives are dying, unless I happen to call and they're like, oh, such and such died, the funeral is tomorrow, or they call me 9 o'clock, the funeral is tomorrow and 2 states away, or there's a Zoom option. I should have took advantage of some of those Zoom options, but it is what it is. Oftentimes I had other appointments for my business, or I had jobs, so it was less than 24-hour notice that I didn't want to give to someone and say, hey, I just found out my aunt died and I need to do this appointment. I kind of wish I had, but that's just hard, guys. I'm talking 12-hour notice. It'd be one thing if it was a job, but if I have a customer, it's a shame, because the toxicity of the situation. Someone needs to put me on a list, say such as people die. My mom's relatives, I haven't heard about anyone dying unless I get on Facebook and somebody's like, oh, here's the thing from my relative. I was like, what do I expect? I tried calling people. I tried sending stuff to. What do you do when you want to keep in touch with family? And what do? You talk to your counselor and you're talking about, oh, you keep putting yourself back in these toxic situations. But I think it's really hard when you know that we're all going to die, whether I die first or the elderly die before me. You know that you're not always going to be here. You know that there's valuable information and companionship with knowing your relatives, talking to them, visiting them. I'm going to go somewhere today, and I'm considering stopping by and seeing my relative, but I am not been invited. He has told me that his wife hates me. So there's this thing about me imagining standing on his porch saying, "Hi, can I say hi? Put a mask on between, have the door between you and me. Hi, just wanted to say hello, goodbye, have a nice day." Or, you know what I'm saying? Imagining if he died before me and I look and cry and say, "Oh, I wish I had stopped by when I was, 30 or 40 minutes away." But I'm definitely not invited. My brothers and his family are definitely invited. So that's where it becomes, when you have your spouse not liking me as your relative you had for over almost 50 years of my life, you know. Anyways, my partner's going to be home soon. So I'm thinking of two things for this series. We'll jump to the series now. I was trying to use the word collapse, hipster. And so I have these exercises. You can't see, but you can see my body. We had these exercises we did when I was in the Iosco County pageant. And I was that person who was told with these young women, our leader, I don't know who that was, she told us to do this exercise and how, because, okay, basically we had to do this during the introduction or something. We all had to come on stage and just do this dance. And it was basically turning your ankles or your heels and taking turns. So we did this, and she goes, "By the way, do this a lot because it's good for your thighs." So I'm going to call that hipsters because it makes your hips stir. And we're going to use that as the code word for living like you're in the collapse before it was cool or before there was a class. It's like having your kids in Web Academy before COVID-19 emergencies, and then every kid is now doing video classes and online classes, and the other kids were really struggling. My kids thrive, thank God, but we got pounded on prior to that by neighbors and people telling me that I'm abusing my kids because they're antisocial, because they're on the computer and not going to these public schools, which seems like just a massive, just the stuff that my kids went to a decent school, decent public school, magnet program, and it was a nightmare for me and my kids. And I don't have experience with private schools. I had the Catholics in my weight loss group telling me to send my kids, if I want the best education, to send them to Catholic schools. I was talking to some people that were Hindu and different religions in my kids' special school, that we wanted the best education for our little ones. And we were trying to talk about such and such Catholic school up on the east side, and what option. You got one in Beaverton, Oregon. Like, you have these different things. We were discussing. My daughter's classmate went down to the private girls' school downtown. So we were trying to maybe have someone pull together a high school for my kids' program, the magnet type situation, or what's the other one, charter school, something like that. I don't know. As far as I know, it didn't really pan out. My kids stuck out like a sore thumb from that regular school they went to, from starting at kindergarten. They'd go to school and people would talk and be like, "That's one of the kids from that one school." They stood out like a sore thumb to like 13-year-olds, and people would pass somebody, like my daughter would go to work or do something, say, "Oh, my friend met you at school the other day and saw you in class, and they know that you went to such and such a program." I say, "How do you guys stand out?" I didn't send them to regular public school, so I don't know what it is, but it's definitely supposed to be like accelerated and intense. So it's like already feeling like you're doing something out of the ordinary. You're doing something that seems strange. You're doing something that you stumble upon by the grace of God, that you find out is an excellent choice, and it makes you not fit in. My daughter and my son weren't able to fit in with people of their own age. The maturity level, the intelligence level, and I was like that as well. When I noticed when I was in schools, I was with the people. They weren't necessarily older than me. Actually, They were either older than me and in my class, or they were upper class. So in med school, it was like I was starting, and the people in the 4th or 5th year were the ones inviting me to parties. Sometimes it's because I had them as a tutor or whatever, but those were the people that were talking to me in the halls and calling me and checking in on me. And my classmates, it was like crickets, except for this older group of people. I used to call it geriatric or the elderly group or something, just because we were having our gray hairs and stuff. So on to the, I was chuckling earlier because I was thinking about this show, this story and maybe show that I want to put together about the collapse and not making light of situations with banks closing, Walmart stores closing. 2 Walmart stores in Portland, Oregon are closing. There will be some in the suburbs, but the 2 stores that I used to shop at only shopped at that one for a while. I didn't really like it because they always looked at me like I was stealing. They always checked my stuff. Every time they went through my stuff. I'd go from the cash register to the checkout where you know somebody's standing there checking people. Like, why would I steal something? It's just like humiliating because it makes everyone around you say, oh, those black people can't be trusted. That's why they're only checking blacks. I see these white guys come in and out of the store because I'd stand in line to get pick up for an hour, and you'd watch these guys. They come in, they come out with their hands in their pocket, and I was like, how come nobody's checking that? It doesn't look like they went to the pharmacy. It doesn't look like they went and got a deli sandwich and a drink. It doesn't look like they sat down long enough to sit at a table and get a coffee or something. I was like, what did they come in and out for? And I do that sometimes. Being black, I was scared to go do that, to go in the store, look for what I wanted, and leave. If I didn't find what I wanted, I was so scared as a black person that I would just buy anything just so that I can go through the line with a receipt. And I was homeless and on welfare with 2 small children, with my ex-husband not paying child support. And no family members even gave me $10 to even get my son diapers or anything. Like, it's not their responsibility, but it's usually family members help out. They come over, they invite the family to come stay with them. They, send a food basket, whatever. These freaking bubble pop things look like hearts, and I'm weirded out by the fact. Oh my gosh, is it just me? Are these are heart? Oh my gosh, these bubbles are heart shaped. I'm just sitting here staring at that, thinking that I've never seen this before. Where did this come from, guys? Oh, you can't see it. Let me see it the backwards way. Yeah, right here you could see. Oh, where did this come from? I'm protecting this old table. Something's telling me just use the table. You want to sit down on the table? It's old. If it gets scratched up, someone can refinish it and sand it. We didn't use stuff in my house. My mom died. I never got any of the furniture or anything that my mom wanted me to have. Actually, some of the stuff she did, it wasn't furniture, and it burned or got destroyed by a fire in 2020. Okay, guys. So I told myself this week, use what you have. So going back to the story, I was chuckling as I went to go do. Actually, I need to go finish my laundry too. I had thought of Naked and Afraid in the house. So there's too much information. I don't like to wear a lot of clothes. I don't like to be cranking up the heat either, but I have a problem. That's a lot, I believe, as a woman shifting to wearing leggings and stuff. It's been like a lifesaver. I don't know if it's because of the hips. We have these pants and you walk and they just drag you down. You wear these tighter things and it's like you feel energized. You feel like you could clean and do this and do that and take care of people and do your work. And so when it's cold, when it's not cold, the heat's on, the heat's not on, you're moving around. I don't like to wear a lot of clothes. Obviously, I get dressed for the video, so if I'm already dressed, try to make a video while I have time. So I was thinking of Naked and Afraid. I was thinking for my 12-step group that I'm chairing at in about a month that I was going to do false evidence appearing real, and I did not like that term, but it's coming to mind, and the person who used to say it all the time has passed away. So I might use that as a topic, but it's also tradition for and concept for. So back to the storyline, I was thinking, this is art imitating life and life imitating art. What would I do if I could live off the grid in an apartment or in the home that where the low income housing, whichever place or both? So, okay, let's talk about infrastructure and services. So not necessarily infrastructure as far as roads. I mean, we're using roads, we're using um, water service, we had trash service. Some of this is included in the rent. It's included in the rent. It's a bill that's being paid to a utility company and or the owner paying the taxes on the building itself, property taxes. So, and then me paying taxes as a working person and as a self-employed person and as sales tax, depending on one state we're in, we pay sales tax, the other state we're in, we don't. Not yet. We pay other taxes. You pay a lot of gas taxes in that other state, though, so you do have sales tax on that kind of stuff and on tobacco and all. Obviously there is still some taxes, and the stuff can be more expensive before. Like, if you go to Washington State and there's a tax and you buy some paper for $5 total, in Oregon you could go back and it's $6, and you're like, there's not even a tax on this. Like, you think it's cheaper to shop with the tax, and maybe that's why they do it. People drive across the border. I got this stuff tax free. It's like, you just pay more money. Might as well support it in your infrastructure, but that's a different thing. So thinking of what I said, water, trash, recycling, energy for heating, whether it's electric, which I think electric is a freaking nightmare as far as cost, but there's no natural gas yet. I heard something in the works. Natural gas, propane, we don't have that option right now. Solar, I have this little solar charger, and that was a prize from a function that I went to. Mi Cuido Familias in Action. So, what do I have beyond that for an idea? So I already had the idea of doing things, growing food. So to say we're doing an apartment, in an attic apartment, I have to be quiet throughout the day. I feel like I'm a Fraggle and I'm Uncle Traveling Mac. I have to run through that store to go through the trash to get my postcards out. Like, I feel like I'm just, a mouse in the wall, which I heard on this wall last night. I feel like I was like, oh, you gotta be, shh, you gotta do what you gotta do, just like a mouse. Oh yeah, so we got the hipsters doing the hip action. I'll find a spot next week probably, and so that I can show you. That's another good reason for wanting to get the donations of either a camera or get it promoted with a camera that I can demonstrate, and or get the donation sites up for you guys to chip in. And I don't have a mia.orange630 at gmail.com. It's my email address. I don't have a PayPal account associated with that, so that would be something I could set up. Having to really shave down any extra cost, having to really deal with society, having to really deal with being on the grid but not wanting to be on the grid. I watch Tubi TV. I bought an antenna for this TV. My partner is paying for the TV channels, and I feel like it's expensive, but I can't judge him because I have these different companies with these different professional liability insurances and these other liability, like triple fall liability policies attached to them, and I'm not bringing in the money to support even if my medical license, but I'm trudging through with the medical. This is so real life art imitating life, life imitating art. So I was gonna have it be like Naked and Afraid, like maybe one of the series where For instance, I don't have a way to cook food here. So there's no yard, there's no barbecue, there's no fire pit, there's no way to put a camping propane grill outside. I feel like there is a fire escape that's partly wood, but it's just this close to the door, and this is not plaster. This is wood stuff. Like this, I consider going to the park with our little rocket type stove. They do have grills. So I want to have a handheld camera so I can film or at least take good pictures and make a collage for you guys, because the series is going to be through words and what I can do to take you guys along, because right now I'm using my laptop. So I didn't even have the iPad. I need to get you some stuff out, try to do some videos on that as well, and share some of the old videos. But okay, so this would be a scenario. Going around in live, keeping the lights off, using solar powered lighting at night for night lights or whatever. Using USB somehow. It's not very bright. It's bright enough for some things, but you need a string of those. Yeah, I have some string lights somewhere. So doing what I could with solar and solar charge. I've not had that good of luck with this stuff, by the way. I have solar charger, battery stuff, so different things. I don't have it here though. We'll find out what I can do in real life here. Getting the clothes washed, using my resources to make my own food, juicing my own stuff, the stuff that's in the freezer. Obviously, that's not off grid, so it wouldn't be like Naked and Afraid where I'm just like, okay, deal with what you have. You deal with what you have on that show with what you have in nature and the couple things you have in your bag. So in my story, I guess I could do it as a, what do you have in your home already? I spent $50 on groceries yesterday. One from a fresh farm. I did eat a whole bowl of spinach just now. And one from Target. I got some kale, 2 bunches of bananas, and 2 zucchini squash. I had some other squash. I tried to order the one sweet Georgia candy roaster. I don't know. Anyways, I didn't get the one I ordered. There's some weird stuff going on with that squash. We'll figure that out. Partner should be home any minute. What can I do while still being on the grid with what I have to grow some herbal plants? I got some sage cooking. So this is me in real life, but it's adapting to the story, kind of being like a pioneer woman in the house. I got fabric, I got thread, I got sewing needles. Those are starting to break up. I got some food I ordered. Also the small box that was approximately $200. I did use a coupon, so it ended up under $200, but literally over $200. A small box of food, including these. Okay. Talked about. I have some sunflower seed or some pepitas, in here as well. This is some good fiber in that. What can I do to put the kale and the zucchini in the dehydrator and season it? Wind down on the salt. This is real life. That's why I did a disclaimer about the medicine. Because I went off salt for like 2-3 weeks, and then I went back on it because I got some noodles. I caved in and got my noodles. This is getting cost prohibitive, so do what I can with the nuts that I have and soak those and put those in the food processors and make some little paste and little dips and stuff. Get some basil going. Get some peppermint going. I'm gonna get some peppermint going here. Despite my doctor saying stay away from camphor, or because eucalyptus peppermint can antidote your homeopathics, but I guess it's temporary. I have some what's that pain stuff with the menthol and eucalyptus. Anyways, all of this kind of stuff. Detox teas. I have regular herbal teas. I have a pound of chamomile that I didn't really go through. So thinking about this as being the land and doing the foraging and going through at the same time saying, hey, you don't have money, stop spending, get these healthy products. And that hamster, I'm going to call it hamster too, hipster, and get these containers cleaned out so we don't have any cabinets for food here. We don't have a kitchen in the other place, so we're moving up in the world. We're living in a garage, so try to think of that. Watch Naked and Afraid when you live in a garage with someone through COVID shutdowns. I watched Naked and Afraid. We kept paying for our TV because I watched that and I felt like inspired to do what I can with what I have and persevere through that. So that's kind of the idea of this series. So I'll work on that idea, kind of coming in here with the exercise. We'll see. I was thinking of doing this exercise during this series. I want to make it long, like a year long, but we'll see. And I want to do some hair care. So I have a lot of myself and people around me that are younger than me and people that are older than me. My family members, we had straighteners and stuff. I want to do some hair care so that you could see this hairline right here. I mean, this looks like I have a band across it. The hair does not grow there. So I think a lot of people also would have lost hair, but maybe from using wigs and weaves, which I didn't really do. I never had a weave. I wore a wig like to a party once or twice, and I never wore it again. It was too hot. And then see if my hair grows, see if my hair fills in up here. So add that to part of that would be like I'm doing self exercises, so I'm not going to the gym, not paying for the Y or any community centers, and then not paying anyone to do hair, and I had some hair products, kind of medicinal herbal in my cart yesterday. I took them out of the cart and I bought the medicines that we needed. So I have osteopenia and I have the lower back osteopenia. That's also where I had a spinal tap and a whole bunch of issues since that spinal tap. And I am so upset because I declined. I said, no, give me informed consent. I will go home. I am not needing a spinal tap. I did not have meningitis. I knew I didn't have meningitis. I knew why I fell down the stairs is because somebody put the date rape drug in my drink at a party. I know that. I figured it out. I'm a good detective. And I knew I didn't have meningitis. I didn't have any symptoms. The headache was because I got a concussion because I fell down 3 flights of stairs from an attic to the first floor. I don't even know. I remember walking towards the stairs saying, I'm sick, let me through. And next thing I know, I was down on my face outside the bathroom door. And half my clothes and outfit that I handmade were gone. I had a costume party I went to. Someone stole my outfit off of me. And I had fake eyelashes. One of them fell off when I fell. So you get a concussion. If it was 1 flight of stairs, nobody helped me. They just left me. Just that. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. Talking about friends, who you think of friends or family. Everyone just left me. It was a nightmare, guys. Let me tell you. I ended up in the hospital. Spinal tap. My back's destroyed. My spinal fluid leaked out of my brain. And they did a patch. If you watch Lucky Lou, Leave Everything in Wonder, they're like, oh, we're in this Italian hospital. My husband had 5 strokes or 3 strokes, and they're doing this new procedure where they take his own blood and patch their. I was like, new procedure? Why are all these doctors saying this is a new procedure? Oh, we're lucky we went to this hospital because it's a specialty. Only one person in the whole country knows how to do it. I was like, I had that same thing done. And they did it as an outpatient. I had that done to me. I had cerebral spinal fluid leaking out of my brain for a week. And my friend took me to the emergency room again. And they took the blood out of my arm and they took a needle and stuck it in my back because I was young and it didn't clot. When they did the spinal tap, the area didn't close back up. So right where that happened, it is the worst pain all day, every day, guys. This is real life. So how to deal with these with my physical therapy exercises. So the collapse. I have notebooks. If you're preparedness minded, you can have notebooks of local herbs, of emergency phone numbers. You might still have phone and addresses of people that you know nearby or even far away. If you have to trek across the country to a safer spot, get away from a storm. Even if it's a dust cloud, what is this stuff going on in Florida? The red tide. Going through and having maps. Going through and having your exercises. Imagine that we were in another lockdown where it was an actual lockdown where you couldn't go outside. And I have my physical therapy and I have my hand exercises, and you want to have some routine or normalness, you can go to your notebook and have stuff organized and pull it off the shelf, and you won't have the internet or the need for electricity with that. So this is silly, I feel like. So having the manual copies, that's clutter. but it can be organized. It doesn't have to be kept. You could put it in, take pictures of it with a device. If you had an old cell phone with a memory in space, you could take pictures of it and not need the internet, and you could use this charger to charge the device. So you can be creative like that. You could do music. I was going to cut all the rest of my nails so I could do my guitar. Should have done it before my partner came home. I don't have the money, but getting the manual washer is another thing that I could do. Oh, speaking of, I got to go. Doing the manual washer, what we could do when the person here is working or we need to do it. Anyways, just different ideas about that, or you don't need electricity. I think that you have to wring this stuff out, though, because I had one of these that actually cleaned pretty well. It felt like it got pressurized. I had the one where you kind of roll it around like a barrel, and you put the clothes and you tighten it, soap and water. I don't even know how I emptied it or how I filled it, because I feel like I was using it in the living room. I don't know, maybe I moved it. I don't know. I wish they weren't $60, $70. I considered that before the electric one I got, and I got the electric one with the centrifuge, and at the time that was only like $90 or $100. Now they're the same model as, I don't know, like $200. I think they just had it on sale for like $149 or something. The Zenni, Zeny. Speaking of Zenni, glasses need to be replaced. My pupillary distance, they refuse to measure it at the doctor's office, which sucks, and especially since I have dark eyes, it's really hard, especially since I need glasses to read the little. Zenni finally, after like my fourth pair of glasses, third or fourth pair, they finally sent me a measurer for that, and I'm realizing that I hadn't measured too big. I'm going to go get my tea. I would like to, for my hipster collapse movie, I would like to continue my craft of being a integrated healthcare provider, and to keep up on my skills, to keep up on earning and earning potential, to be able to help people, to be able to have time to heal my body. My mother only lived approximately 7 years more than my age now. If I had to die when my mom died, 7 years from now, a year goes by fast. Do you remember 2019 and 2020? Before the collapse and after, during the collapse. Then 2023 is suddenly here. 2021, 2022, 2023. The COVID stuff. 3 years. It's ending. They're ending the things in April. 22, 20, 20, 21, 22, 23. So I missed a year. Sorry, I don't know what happened. 2020, 21, 22, and now we're on to 23. So once you get through kids going back to school, and it'll be almost Christmas after the summer. I feel like the summer is going to go by super fast. Oh yeah, the last thing I wanted to talk about was the energy of people around you, mostly like not necessarily household members. That will be your household members and your work members will be affected by what's going on around you. There's spring going on. There's pollen in the air. That is how plants breed. So that's a sexual energy and tension. I feel that people have that kind of energy, like trees, reproduction energy, but the allergies that people have, non-allergies still have coughing and sneezing. What about when it's starting to warm up? The sun's coming up. Then we changed our time, but the sun is out longer. The days are warming up. The flowers are coming out. The birds are back. Or the other birds, the geese have left or whatever. People are getting out fishing. People are getting their boats out. People are still continuing their snowboarding and stuff up north, but they're coming back here and they're kayaking because it's 50-something degrees out. And they got in their vacation house and they're getting ready for spring. They already have spring break, actually. Or they're going to do the Easter, the religious celebrations. The kids are getting candy. All of these things. There's something about community and society. You can watch a movie. I always think about these European or Irish movies where the town and everyone's like Ballykiss Angel. Everyone's in the pub having all their meals, from the police officers to the criminals to everyone in between. They're all eating together. The kids are there. So a good set of kids in that show. I like the season where the guy from Australia comes to be the preacher or the priest. I think of that kind of community. That's the kind of community actually I would like to be able to be friendly with each other and do work for each other, and it's the howdy neighbor. But it ends up being this people zipping around, people laying on the horn, people getting mad, people giving you dirty looks. I have people that don't look like me in some certain groups I'm in, and they're talking about people giving them dirty looks. Some of these people, I think that they are society's standard. I think they're pretty. Doesn't matter if they're old or young. They have a sometimes, like, say for me, I wanted to laugh and learn how to laugh after leaving abusive people. So and then I will end up smiling, and so people will say, "Oh, you have a beautiful smile. Why don't you do that more?" I think that's aggressive. Hi. If I do that to your pit bull or something and he sees my t-shirt, like, dogs, that's like a fighting words. Like, I get confused about that, by the way. Because I'm just like, someone's got a dog they are not handling because they're on their phone and their dog's leash came off, and I'm at the park and their dog's like, I was like, don't make eye contact. Keep walking. Don't show your teeth because that's fighting words for the. It's like, but you want me to smile all the time. Hi. I'm Vanna White. Hi. Like, I'm not Vanna White, guys. So this is a really silly show. Um, working, doing billing, doing taxes, working with what I have in the house, working at not wasting resources, not having the food go bad in the refrigerator, the oranges going bad. So getting the juicers out, getting the cutting board clean, so you can chop this stuff up and get it, ingest it the way it should be. If it could be frozen, freeze it. If it could be dehydrated, dehydrate it. If it could be juiced, juices can be frozen as well. So trying to do the full body spa. So imagine somebody's looking like the Flintstones, wearing like this, wearing this, like, this halfway shirt. Yeah, this is I'll call this the Flintstone shirt. Imagine I'm wearing the Flintstone shirt in my house and I'm sitting there spraying my plant starts. That maybe you'll actually see some plant starts in this windowsill. Get rid of the snowflake and start doing the containers I got and the mortar and the pestle. Start making the herbal stuff, and I got the carrier oils. Maybe getting rid of the ones that are rotten. What can you do with those? Sprinkle them outside to keep bugs from coming in. I'm looking at clothes that need to be hemmed. So just doing this pioneer woman type stuff, the preparing the food, the bartering, or doing what you can to get stuff from your fresh, organic, local farm, which we did yesterday, and we did the Target thing. Even though I want to boycott them, they took my rewards points. I had either $26 or $36 of rewards points. The other day I went into Target and it said you have $9 available. I went a couple weeks before, it said I had 23 something available. I've sent messages back and forth, and they're like, no, you didn't have this money. I have every receipt from that dang place. And their things used to say, if you don't use the rewards and you don't use some of the rewards, or you don't add to it within 3 years, your points will expire. So I feel like if you went to a store and didn't go back for 3 years, they'd expire on that next day. Now I looked at the fine print. It does say 1 year. If you don't add to or subtract to, they will expire. So unless I read it wrong, what I think happened is that 3-year mark came and they expired. I feel like I started it in 2020 and it ended. And they're telling me that I never had the points, that I'm tripping. They even told me, it shows here you had $23 and you said 26 or 36. I was like, then where is that? And they didn't add it back. I know that was there. I know for a fact I was saving up to get something, a file cabinet or a pair of shoes. I know I was saving up for it. I was saving up for when I didn't want to use the credit card. I was purposely shopping at Target when we had to get our medications so that I could get those points to buy some stuff for my business. And that they're gone. So be careful of any points. Be careful of the surveys. I do survey sites. I could spend 30 minutes on a survey. I said it was going to be 6. I agreed to do 6. I'm like, oh, well, we're taking you to this one. It's going to be 20. 36 minutes later, I do the survey. It finishes all the questions. I answer all these questions. I want to pull my hair out. I do the demographic thing again, the double check. And then at the end of that, they say, sorry, you don't qualify. Are you freaking kidding? And then it's not like, oh, that was supposed to be $1.50 in my account, and now I have 0. I'm in my tea. I'm so happy today, guys. Thank you for listening. I will sharpen the rough edges on that story.